you strike me down, I shall become more powerful than you could possibly imagine.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Bulldog here. I've got a fairly short video for you today, but I've got to answer a question that I get all the time, and I've kind of answered it on various streams, on various videos, but there still seems to be a lot of confusion. So I want to get this video up, if nothing else, just to have it to link to everybody that asked the question. So what I'm going to talk about today is the difference in modern versus wild format, and kind of what we know about that right now. Because what's going to happen once Chaos gets here? Actually, about a month after Chaos gets here. They said it's not going to be ready when Chaos first releases. That's on December 8th. They said it's probably going to be about a month after, sometime in January. The ranked leaderboard is going to split. And there's going to be two different places that you can play. One is Modern and one is Wild. Modern is going to use the last two sets, kind of main sets. So it's going to use the Untamed type cards and the Chaos type cards, and that includes like the subsets and the rewards, and I'll show you exactly how to differentiate between the two, or between the. There's actually 4 different types of card backgrounds, and we'll kind of look at those. So it's gonna split. So modern, you'll only be able to use Untamed and Chaos in the modern format, and then in the wild format, you're going to be able to use everything. So the intent here is to make it so that newer players coming into the game will always have a place where they can go compete, even if they don't have the older cards, which might be and are very, very expensive. And so as they produce these newer sets that have print rates that are adjusted to the current player base, that new players can kind of get into the game, and old cards will be phased out. And Modern is always going to have the last 2 sets. So a year down the line or 6 months down the line, or whenever they release the next set, it will then be Chaos and the next set. So it's going to be kind of a cycle, and then everything else falls back into Wild. So first, let's look at how do you tell the difference, okay? That's kind of one of the main things, is how do you tell the difference? We've got 4 different card borders here, and you can tell the difference by the border. So the first set that was released was Alpha. You can see the Alpha set there. There's not very many of those. Those are very rare and very valuable cards. Most of those are actually reprinted in beta. So we've got alpha and beta cards. And those 2 backgrounds right there that you see on the left are only going to be used in wild. Once the format splits, it's only going to be able to be used in wild. And so I say beta, that includes, so you'll see like reward cards with that same background. That kind of gets grouped in with beta. You'll see promo cards with that same background. And then we move on to Untamed and Chaos. Those are the 2 newest ones. So you can see the Untamed border kind of has that little cracked type border. And then Dice has that same border. Dice is kind of what I called like it's a mini set that goes with the Untamed. There are reward cards that go in to that Untamed set. There are promo cards that go in there. Now keep in mind, when I say that, like, I'm grouping the reward cards and the dice cards and the Untamed cards all together based on how their background looks, and that's true when we're talking about this splitting off of these ranked formats. Now, if you go and play in a tournament and it's Untamed only, that doesn't include dice. That doesn't include the reward cards that kind of go along with Untamed. It just includes the Untamed. So it's different when we're talking about tournaments. But for the sake of wild versus modern format, we can kind of group all of these sets together. And then the newest cards right here are the Chaos. We've got the Chaos reward cards. You can see these are all death cards here. We've got Heartclaw. This is what the Chaos border is going to kind of look like there. So you can tell by looking at the border of the cards whether or not you'll be able to use it in wild only or modern and wild. So the newer sets you'll be able to use anywhere. So those have kind of spiked in. I mean, all the cards are kind of spiking in value right now, but those cards that you're going to be able to use in both places have kind of been increasing in value. And if you're a new player and jumping into the game, your modern ranked battles are probably where you're going to want to be. It's going to be a good thing for you when this splits off. And if you focus on building up a Chaos set, you're gonna have half the cards for that. And then when the next set comes out, Untamed will drop out, and you can build up your next set, and then you'll have all the ones for Modern. And that's kind of a good place to start. It is focusing on the Chaos set, and then if you get a chance to add in some of the Untamed cards as well that you can use, that's kind of where you're going to want to start. Or that's what it's looking like. So you will be able to play them both regardless. We can go ahead and take this off the screen here. So now a lot of these details are not finalized, so this is just kind of what the devs have told us they're planning on doing, which is great, by the way. I know some people get mad when the Splinterlands team in Discord says that they're planning on, like, they're looking at doing certain things, and then it ends up that they don't do those things, and people get upset because, oh, they lied to us. The Splinterlands teams is great because they're so open and transparent about what they're doing and what they're looking at, and things that they're planning on doing, and by telling us these ahead of time and kind of what their thought process is, they can get feedback and then adjust things based on what the community wants or what they think is going to be best for the community. Or sometimes the game explodes and we add 20 times the player base and they have to make adjustments, and so it's absolutely great that they're so transparent with the community and telling all these things. So don't get mad at them when they're just talking in Discord or their AMAs and kind of talking about what they might want to do, and then it changes. So my point is, this is all subject to change, but right now it's looking like each one is going to have a separate capture rate. So you're not going to have to choose, oh, I want to use my energy in Modern, or I want to use my energy in Wild. You're going to be able to use both. So it's an advantage if you have the cards for both, but playing in Wild is going to be very, very expensive. It's kind of how it is. So Modern's going to be the focus for a lot of new players, but you can play in both, and you can take your Modern cards and still go play in Wild. And yeah, maybe you don't do as well, but you can still get some DEC and compete to however you can there. You're not going to be punished for doing poorly in one and that type of thing. So that's going to be nice. They've said they plan on the rewards being equal, and that they might adjust that based on how things are performing and who's doing well and what and that type of thing, and how adjustments need to be made. But the plan is right now for the reward pool to be equal in both of them, and they'll use separate capture rates. So I mean, for me, that's got a lot of decent cards. I'm thinking, okay, there's going to be a lot fewer people competitive in Modern, so the rewards at the top of Modern are going to be pretty nice because there's just fewer people up there playing. So that might be something to consider when you're deciding what type of cards you want to get and that type of thing. I don't think the Modern cards are necessarily going to lose their value because of this. Or sorry, I don't think the Wild cards are necessarily going to lose their value because of this. So we'll see how it goes. That's kind of all speculation, and we don't know what the reward pool is going to look like necessarily. They've talked about making changes to the total reward pool when it comes, so we don't know if you're going to have the same reward pool and it's now going to be split, or whether they're going to increase the reward pool in order to compensate for having two different formats. We don't know what it's going to look like, but at least starting off, the plan is for the reward pools in each one to be equal, and then to use separate capture rates. You do not have to go choose. That's kind of my point. So hopefully this helps kind of clear things up a little bit. I know I've talked about, I reference Modern and Wild all the time in my videos, and I kind of try to give a brief explanation, but hopefully this was a little more detailed, and I actually put the cards side by side. I know I try to explain the differences in the card backgrounds there, but sometimes that's harder to describe. Here you can actually just go see it. So hopefully this helped. If you still have questions, let me know. Again, some of these details can certainly change, but I can't wait for this to be here, because this is going to be a huge thing for new players, not having to go up against me and my maxed alpha Lord of Darkness. That's my precious card. My precious. My maxed alpha. I have very few alpha cards. That's the only one I have maxed, and it's a legendary that I absolutely love. But it's not going to be used in Modern format anymore. New players don't have to go up against that, what, $5,000, $10,000 card, however much it is. I don't even know. I'm just throwing numbers out. I just know it's very, very expensive. But anyways, hopefully that clears things up, and let me know in the comments. If not, the best play, I love when you guys leave comments on YouTube, but the quickest place to get responses if you have questions is to go to my Discord channel and just post in the Splinterlands general chat. And if I'm available, I can help, but there's also lots of other people available that can help answer questions as well, so that's the quickest place to get your question answered. Thank you guys so much. I'll be seeing you around.